Hi everybody, I am Thomas. I am the merchandising manager, and welcome to the Right Stuff War Room, where we are going to be discussing the top 25 anime of the decade. We're going to get a list together. Everybody who's joining us today, everybody brought a list of 25 titles that they think are the best, and we're going to sit around nicely and argue our points and get a nice list kind of put together here. It's not going to be in order of 1 through 25 of what is the best. It's just going to be a list of 25. If we sit here and argue what the best of the decade is, we're going to be here for 2 days. One of the things we did do is we are going to do a category for top 5 movies, just so we can get some titles off the list, because we have over 110 things that we've listed so far, and we want to get through this today. But before we get started, I'm going to let everybody who is taking part today introduce themselves.
How's it going, folks? I'm Chris. I'm a merchandising coordinator here. I have been an anime fan since about the mid-90s, so working with a good bunch of experience here, I think.
I'm Felix, and I'm a forklift driver here, and I've been watching anime for like 7 years.
I'm Quinn, a merchandising coordinator, and I just realized that I've been watching anime since before '97, when Sailor Moon was the Deke production. So, a long time.
Hi, I'm Devlin. I'm a social media coordinator, and I've been watching anime since the 2000s. Yeah.
I'm Liv. I'm a merchandising coordinator, and I've been watching anime for like 22 years. Yeah, it makes me look really old.
I'm Jocelyn, and I'm also a merchandising coordinator. I've been watching One Piece since it started, so however long that's been.
2000, so 20 years. Alright, so to make this easy, we're just going to go around the table and everybody gets 2 votes. We're going to either vote for Evangelion, Penguin Highway, In This Corner of the World, Pokemon the Movie, I Choose You, or Princess Kaguya. And we'll start with Jocelyn. Which 2 do you choose?
In This Corner of the World and Penguin Highway.
Okay, and then Liv?
Evangelion and Princess Kaguya, to mix it up.
Alright, let me get this written down real quick.
Because I love for the chaos.
Alright, Devlin?
I'm gonna have to choose Penguin Highway and Pokemon the Movie, I Choose You.
Okay, Quinn?
In This Corner of the World, and if somebody is not ahead, I'll just vote then. How about that? Because I don't care what they're
Alright,
Respectfully, it's saying.
I only watch Pokemon, so I'm gonna go with Pokemon.
you haven't seen any of the other ones?
No.
Okay. This might be interesting. Chris, what do you think?
Let's go with Penguin Highway and Princess Kaguya.
Okay. And I'm going to choose Evangelion and Penguin Highway.
My other
Okay.
vote also goes for In This Corner of the World twice. There.
Only.
Is that?
So then we have Penguin Highway with 4 votes, Corner of the World with 3, Pokemon Eva and Kaguya all with 2. So Penguin Highway, In This Corner of the World are growing up. Anybody want to argue their point? I really think that Eva should be in here. I would sacrifice Eva for Penguin Highway in a heartbeat.
I have to agree, only because the rebuild films were 1 and 2 were pretty faithful to the original adaptations, and 3 came and just turned it on its head completely and was so polarizing that it kind of revitalized the film franchise. I don't know. I'd vote for
Eva is really good in the sense that Hideki Anno was always a little mad with how people saw his original series and how he had to do the movies. And Evangelion was kind of him giving the middle finger to fans because everybody expected it to go a certain way, and he was just like, nope, this is going to be my thing. And he created a thing to kind of make everybody mad, but it's still a very great work.
Yep.
So I really think that Eva should be on there. Can I get anybody to change their vote for Penguin Highway?
Not me.
Okay.
I'll change my vote.
yeah.
Push over.
The disembodied voice comes from heaven.
So that's 3 tied for 3 now.
Yeah, so we have 3 people for Penguin Highway and 3 people for Eva.
I'm okay with Penguin Highway.
I still have, or Felix still has his vote too.
Oh, yeah.
You've now
Felix.
become their favorite person.
Based on the arguments you've heard for Penguin Highway and Eva, which one do you think
Did
deserves
we hear
to be
one
on
for
there?
Penguin Highway? Just
I already said it earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a mecha.
Big robots.
Versus penguins.
I'm gonna go with Eva.
I was gonna say this is
Fair enough.
I just the internet will get mad. Okay.
I know the internet will
One
get mad.
Pokemon.
So did
That was a good
both her
movie.
votes for this corner of
It
the
was a
world
very
counted?
good movie. Wait for summer.
So, I mean, if you really look at it, this is actually a really good variety. Like, we've got, like, I don't even, ProAir isn't action, but I mean, there's a lot of comedy, and it's just Studio Trigger. Like, Studio Trigger deserves to be on here somewhere. Evangelion, it's just, we were also looking for things that people talked about. Everybody talked about Evangelion when it came out. Like, it was a huge thing. In this corner of the world, I think it's a really good thing to be on here. If you're into, like, history and actually seeing things, how they actually happened, I mean, there's like a lot of like Grave of the Flyer Files feelings
It's a
in this, and I think that's
very
really
good
important to have
piece.
on the list. It's absolutely beautiful. A Silent Voice, I think it's a really good. We're so used to seeing a lot of things where it's like, oh, high school comedy, people like falling in love, stuff like that. This is a really good portrait of like bullying, how it affects people through like multiple years, and Your Name is Just Your Name. I mean, J.J. Abrams is making a movie about this. That's how big it is. So. I think this is a pretty solid list, honestly. I mean, Tales of Princess Kaguya, I super like that movie. I think it's absolutely beautiful. But it was Takahata's last film. But, I mean, Ghibli really just hasn't given us a lot in this last decade. Pokemon, I know we have a lot of Pokemon fans. But, I mean, even the Pokemon stuff that gets brought over here doesn't get translated. And I think that kind of affects it a lot, too. We always have to deal with the dubs and stuff. Even though there's nothing wrong with dubs, I'm just saying that.
Is that a debate we're going to have right now?
Just sprinkling the salt in the wound. It's okay.
And then Penguin Highway, everybody should see Penguin Highway. It was great. It was actually one of my favorites. But if, like I said, if there's like a scrap battle, I would have to go with Evangelion over Penguin Highway. Okay, so now we're going to get to the actual meat of the top 25 of the decade.
Okay.
So we're going to go through what had the most votes first, and then we're going to start going around the table and having somebody nominate something and see if we want to put it on the list or not. So the top two things were Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia, to surprise no one. Does anybody have any argument for these not getting on the list? Everybody's okay with that?
They were huge
They're
phenomenal.
amazing.
You have to.
Yeah, and like I said, we're also looking at like, it's not, I mean, I'm not saying that these are bad shows, but how much it affected the popular culture, how it affected like the people that were watching and stuff like that. And I think Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia deserve to be on here.
Yep.
So we're going to throw those on here.
Where are the top 10 all shown
I heard whispers or something.
They're all shonen.
I
I voted for no shonen except Demon Slayer. I'll make it known.
This isn't just Boy Zone, don't worry.
Yes, that's why I got diversity here.
That's why you just
we're
go
not
grab
going
the
to have a
eraser.
list of like,
I'm not-
and then Dragon Ball Super, and then no, we're not going to do that.
No offense
All
to
right,
Dragon Ball
so
fans.
we had 3 with 4 votes. Sword Art Online. Well, actually, Your Name was one of them, so we're not going to count that. So you have Sword Art Online and Assassination Classroom.
And Blue Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Exorcist. Sorry, our writing on here is really tiny. Blue Exorcist, Sword Art Online, and Assassination Classroom with 4 votes. I'll start off the discussion with, I do love Blue Exorcist a lot, but we're getting already to the point where we're going to have a lot of shonen on here.
So,
Shonen.
We have to argue 4-1.
So I'm going to
That
create a
doesn't feel like
category
you
here
should.
too called Hold, where it's
Okay.
something we can come back to discuss later.
Because-
Even though Assassination Classroom is shonen, it is a different kind of shonen. Is kind of my
Yeah.
argument there.
Excuse me.
But argue against me.
No,
if
no, no,
you-
no, no. I'm
yeah.
not even arguing about Assassination Classroom. My vote would be for Sword Art, and I hate Sword Art. No, here's I hate
Sword Art
I hate
too,
it so
but
much.
I think it deserves to be on here.
because it is such a
it's a phenomenon, yeah.
For,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is what turned a lot of people onto anime,
Yeah.
and it kind of is its own like slice of, oh hey, this is why it's video games now,
Mhm.
and it was a lot of people's go-to.
And it also kind of was the crack in the dam that just brought this isekai deluge onto the industry. So now everything is like, oh,
I
I'm
would
a normal
argue
person
that
in a
was the
fantasy
reason.
world.
Yeah, I mean, there's better isekai than Sword Art Online, but we're also looking at like how it affects.
Yeah, their
Impact.
impact.
Yeah.
on the
It
market, yeah.
impacted.
I mean, it's
anime.
still on now, and it's still
Yeah.
airing, and there's still a ton of people watching it.
Yeah.
So, yes. Okay,
I'll
so
be
I
the
got-
first to nominate that, and I'm saying like it's my least
Yeah.
favorite.
I will back her up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. You like it? I don't like
I got my
it.
vote.
oh, we got another
I
one.
got my vote.
Felix likes it too.
Yeah. I'm not even a big fan of Sword Art, but
No?
it's
I can't deny it.
everywhere I go, I see
Yeah.
Kirito.
Kirito.
All right. So then we've got Blue Exorcist and Assassination Classroom. I am okay with Assassination Classroom, but I'm not okay with Blue Exorcist.
Blue Exorcist to me though, I'm gonna defend that one.
Okay.
So Blue Exorcist, it came out, in the early 2000s, and then it got a sequel with multiple years in between, and it picked back up where the manga left off when they got derailed in the first season, and was like, let's make our own ending. We ignore that part, but it's got such good characters, and I love how there's the demonic sense of it, but it's not like dark. To an extent, it is not really. I don't know. Something that got a sequel and made fans so super happy when it came back, to me, is a big enough influence. But if it's a pick and choose between Blue Exorcist and Assassination Classroom, I do have to go with Assassination Classroom.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Assassination Classroom, they really gave more depth to their characters of Class 1A, was it? Or 1D?
3E.
3E, there we go. So many numbers, so many classrooms.
You sunk my battleship.
I really enjoyed every single character that they showed, and even the ending was very powerful.
Good fucking
Yeah.
ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good ending.
I really like Blue Exorcist too, but my feelings on it are I really love the manga, and I sometimes wonder if my love of the manga is what affects my feelings towards Blue Exorcist, because it did get that weird kind of ending and then got brought back, and I don't know if there was just too much time in between, but it didn't seem like there was as much hype for the Kyoto saga as there was when it first came out.
I think there was a lot of people talking about it simply because it suddenly just picked up where they left off in the manga on episode 17 instead of suddenly people were like, wait, what happened to the grandpa? What happened to the end? What?
Oh, the giant battle on the school.
It's like, what's going on? And I think that lost a lot of people, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I defended it, but I still am going to go with Assassination Classroom. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to put Blue Exorcist in hold right now, but this category is going to get full very quick, and then we're going to have to execute some things. So
Execute some things. No,
I'm
literally.
wondering how it goes if we're going in list.
So we're going to go through the threes here, and then once we get there, I'm going to start going around, and we're going to start having people nominate things.
Okay.
And then if it doesn't seem to go anywhere, then I'm going to have you start crossing things off your list. To get things down. So
Okay.
yeah, we got to get bloody at some point.
I can do that.
All right. Assassination Classroom.
Are you just crossing off things we've already talked about?
Just the movies.
So
That's all.
let's see if I can read this handwriting pretty well.
It's your hand.
Or not handwriting, but
Oh, type.
It's Imperial.
Need a
all
magnifying
right.
glass.
So we've got Attack on Titan, Dr. Stone, Erased, Hunter x Hunter, Made in Abyss, Noragami, One Punch Man, Recovering an MMO Junkie, Steins Gate, and Vinland Saga, all with 3 votes out of the 7. Is there anything that pops out right away that that they think should go down this list?
Noragami.
Yeah, Made in Abyss for me.
One Punch Man.
What?
Oh, should not be on the list?
Should be on the
Not
list.
be on
Should
the
be,
list.
yeah, should be on the list. One Punch Man. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
What's your favorite
You made me
show?
think I
Let's
screwed
screw it off.
So we've had Noragami, Made in Abyss, and then One Punch Man nominated. Does anybody agree with any of those that came out that they think that absolutely deserves? I think Made in Abyss. Did I vote for? I
did.
vote for Made in
You did,
Abyss.
yep.
So it was me, Quinn, and Jocelyn that all voted for that. So Liv, Felix, Chris.
I have to pick one of the 3.
No, just things that people have nominated that you think that after hearing it, yeah, that should be on the list.
I'm gonna have to go with Made in Abyss.
Made in Abyss?
If we're picking from those 3.
No, we can. I mean, we could nominate all these if we wanted to.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't think Dr. Stone deserves to be on here.
No, I
No,
It's
it's too much of a work in progress
It's
right
still,
now.
it's still running.
It's too new.
And like I said, I don't want to get into shonen syndrome where
Yeah.
we have an entire
I
list
mean,
of shonen stuff.
Dr. Stone was fun, but at the same time, it's you have to have the patience for it too, because the storyline itself hasn't really progressed.
Yeah,
it's
like-
more of the hey, let's build things.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
like the first 6 episodes are completely different from the rest of
Yeah.
the series so far, and then the rest of the series has been just a lot of build up.
Yeah.
And it's got that long shonen show sort of feel of
Yep.
just like, we're just going to take our time and stretch this out and so we can get a full 24 episode season in here.
Yeah, I'm good with nixing that off the list.
Yeah, it's too soon for that one. Like Demon Slayer, I think they've earned their spot up at the top.
And
but
the manga's still going stronger than I've not read Dr. Stone or seen Dr. Stone,
yeah.
but
Well, has Demon Slayer been like renewed for a second season?
yeah,
movie.
it's getting a
It's
movie.
getting a movie,
Yeah.
but has it been renewed for a second
I mean,
season?
it will
It will
be.
be.
Yeah.
Will be.
It will be.
Dr. Stone got already renewed for a second season.
That could just
before the
that
last
could just
one.
be because the publisher who's like, hey, we're making money on this. Let's keep going. Let's not lose people.
See, the only one in
Yeah.
that
I
batch.
think it's more popularity.
I feel like the reason for that though too is Dr. Stone has the ability to do so much filler because they can make a new thing every episode. While that's kind of why I feel like they could have had the story over and done with within a 12 episode span or a 24 episode span, but it's the reason that there's so much filler because they're focusing on every episode of making one part of an entire setup, which they could have all made in one episode.
Yeah, like the whole build a cell phone arc is just like, oh, we need to get this step, and
Yep.
then the next episode's like, oh, this step, then
And that's why
here's-
it's taking so
oh, here
long.
we
It's
threw
just-
this side.
This is making me want
Here's
to
how
watch
I
it so
feel.
good.
I mean, it is good and it's worth
Yeah.
a watch, but I don't think it deserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
The biggest thing to always remember is there's a difference between good and best of the decade.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this
Like,
isn't best of 2019.
You're
This is
talking
best of the
about
decade.
like we create a vault and we put 25 things in it, and like that's
This
all you
Yep.
can keep
Yeah.
from this decade.
And I think Demon
Like,
Slayer's earned its spot already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
Dr. Stone has been crossed off. I nominated Hunter x Hunter, and I absolutely love it.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
always talk about how I think that's the best shonen thing ever,
Yep.
but I am totally okay with getting that off the list.
I agree. Me
Okay,
too.
so Hunter x Hunter is going.
I say that from my heart because I love it.
She's a big
No,
fan.
Because I love it.
but
Really big fan.
at the same time, I know how much other good stuff is on this list, and I just don't think it's gonna earn a spot.
I feel like Recovering an MMO Junkie could go because it's kind of like an underlying of Sword Art Online almost feel to it. So
Well, with MMO Junkie too, I think that a lot of people connected with the characters
Yeah.
right off the
Yeah.
bat,
I
and
mean,
then
yeah.
when they revealed that Crunchyroll had a part in the production of it, it was like, what? But everybody liked it and didn't trash it. This can't be a thing. So I felt it got more talk than the show itself. Was like, it was good show, but it was not the elevated, oh my gosh, this is gold.
For me, it was one of my favorite shows, but I didn't think it had as much of a reach because I know the three of us voted for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I liked it too. I just didn't put it on my list, but
yeah,
I don't know how many people. I know we're getting off subject. How many people here watch Politicoi and stuff?
I want to. I
Couple.
can't.
Okay.
I've heard it's
Because
good.
that'll be kind of
Yeah,
an
haven't
interesting
gotten
one that I would think might make the list. This one might be. I'm always going to be the devil, but I don't think Steins Gate should be on this list.
Oh, wow.
Oh, those fighting words. I nixed it off the
wow.
list, but I really liked it.
I just coming from like a characters and like figure aspect is a lot of the main characters sell really well for Steins Gate, and I noticed like a lot of the merchant stuff moves for it well too. So I feel like there's a big fan base for it. It's just you have to have that kind of attitude for that anime.
It's also based on what, a dating sim?
A visual novel.
Visual novel. Okay, I can remember which one.
You know, I didn't mind the first season, but
Yeah.
we're looking at things as a whole, and
I don't-
Steins Gate Zero was not good.
But was the initial anime good?
It was
Yeah.
good,
But as a whole,
Yeah.
but what we're talking about as a whole.
the second part brought it down, man. Except facts.
It was up here first season, down here second.
Well, honestly, that's
Movies
kind
in
of
the
how it is with Sword Art Online. Going back to that.
All right, we can take it off the list. That's what you're saying.
All right, Steins Gate's off the list. Since we had a couple people say they liked it, I'm going to put Recovery on hold. So we can come back to that later when we have some spots open.
We have some spots open.
I think Made in Abyss absolutely needs to be on
Yes.
this list.
Yes.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, I mean they're making movies that are coming out to the theaters, and like the theater goers that haven't watched the show have been able to see it. I think the only reason why more people haven't seen it is because it was lost on Amazon Prime at first.
Yeah.
If this would have been a Crunchyroll show, this would have
gosh.
probably been #1 every single week.
I feel like that's something we're going to get into later on, where it's just like a lot of these shows, like if they're not on Crunchyroll or Funimation, we just straight up forget about them.
Yeah.
Like there's
It's
one
happening.
once we get to the one per votes, I feel like there's one I'm going to have to bring up that is going to be amongst that list. And it's just if they end up on a like. Oddly enough, I would say non-traditional streaming service, but they tend to be the more traditional streaming services that everybody else uses. A lot of the anime fandom misses out on that because they don't want to split their money between so many different formats. And so that's something that's going to come up later.
Yeah, we like our niche markets.
Yeah,
How about Vinland Saga? Have we
there we go.
putting that
Yeah, there's
on?
one.
So I am a huge Vinland Saga fan. I think they're actually doing a really good job of adapting it.
Just not a lot
I
of
will.
people
I'm
have
gonna put
seen
it on
this.
hold for now.
It is hard.
really don't love it.
It is
Because
hard.
we need to see when we get down to like 5 spots left. That's when it's gonna get kind of bad. As much as I love it, like I also know there's a lot of other good stuff out there. Okay, so we're left with Erased, Noragami, and One Punch Man.
I feel like Erased was like the Aniplex title of the decade, honestly.
I
Like,
just-
besides Demon Slayer, I know Aniplex is Demon
You got
Demon
Promised
Slayer's-
Neverland in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I prefer
Erased was
I
a big
love-
thing.
Erased was the start.
Erased was a big thing the year it came out,
Yeah.
and now it's just dwindled to
And
nothing.
also,
Nobody
I'm sorry,
talks about
but
it anymore.
the strength of Erased at the beginning was such an easy to watch show, and it was so easy to just fall into the pattern. But at the end, it did not finish strong.
I just want to make a note because I heard somebody say it. Nobody voted for the Promised Neverland.
What? Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
It's down
I
in the
definitely
T's.
did.
No, it's
Oh,
because
is it
it's
in
there's
T's?
no.
That's why I missed
Oh,
it. Yeah.
it's right
Oh, wait.
underneath, above Alone the Sea.
It's below Showa.
Up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Weird that it
fine.
ended up there because I thought.
yeah.
It's a 2 voter.
The alphabetizing
Yeah,
failed.
I guess it's doing weird stuff. Okay, so we had one
It's
vote
there.
for a Promised Neverland.
It's there at least. We got something.
It's there, but
We
it's
had
the one
two.
vote.
We had two. We had
It's
two
a
votes.
two?
for
It's
that
a 2
one.
vote.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's in the middle of the
Devlin and
alphabet.
Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we had 2 people for it.
Oh, I see how it
It
organized.
was
It's
an
the end of the
alphabetical order, I
twos.
thought.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen a lot.
That's
There's
what
I'm
100
voting for
something
Rakugo.
episodes.
I'm
Oh,
defending it. No, I'm defending it. It's my
so
favorite.
I thought really Erased was good. I think it did get a lot of people talking about what was going to happen every week. But I really don't feel like that show stuck the landing.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry, Erased. So now we're left with Noragami and One Punch Man.
What about
Um,
Attack on Titan?
I'm gonna get to that one. I think that one's gonna be kind of. I think even as good as it was, I think there's gonna be a fight for it. So
Wow.
I think that Noragami and One Punch Man, even though One Punch Man is shonen, should probably both be on the list.
I haven't seen Origami, so
But
can't
I would
vote
understand the
against
argument
it.
that One Punch Man doesn't make the list because of the second season.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And I say the second season's
hurt.
great.
Second
Oh.
season was horrible.
The second season was not as good as first.
But it was still really fun.
It was fun comedy wise, but there was hardly any action.
But again, we have to look at it as a whole.
Yeah, as a whole, I would
That-
say
that-
no.
that's
I would
where
say
I
Gundam
think
is better.
it's
Yeah.
falling into Science Gate territory where it was good first season, but then second season
Yeah.
it brought down.
But at the same time, like, I didn't really see a drop off myself. I just thought like,
Didn't
Chris is like
a different
rose-colored
studio did
glasses.
season 2? correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not super
So
familiar with One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Noragami.
yes.
I
Yeah.
did not vote for it, but I think it deserves to be on the
I-
list.
Yeah.
I did vote for it and it should.
I will say that the second season of Noragami, there's like one spot where you can easily take a break and say, okay, I don't have to binge the rest of the season. And if you go that one episode past, nope, you're in it for the all 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It's
One
one of those
sitting.
shows that it gets better.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Yep.
it
As it
so
goes on,
does.
which
Yeah.
I always think is a huge thing for a show. Like if you do separate Demon Slayer into 2 cores, like the first part and the second part, like the second
It does
part,
get-
it's just
I
getting
was gonna say,
better.
Demon Slayer
Yeah.
starts off so slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for those of you who have read the manga, even though I don't like to integrate manga into here,
good.
the Infinite Training arc that's coming up is going to be really good. And
I think
yeah.
about Noragami. They're both
So-
Yeah, I did
They're both
too.
good. The Demon Slayer manga and the
Noragami
Noragami at manga. Noragami for a
Like-
while was the manga I was keeping up with. So.
And then I put a One Punch Man here.
I crossed it
Or-
off. I crossed it off my list
I say
already.
yes.
All right, so that's good. That's going. All right, so Attack on Titan. It absolutely needs to be on this list. I know Attack on Titan is not for everybody, but I mean, you had American comic artists do their own versions and side stories of Attack on Titan.
There's a crossover of them versus the Avengers.
This show, in a way, almost went off a cliff in the second season, but this third season that just came out, especially part 2, if you had any doubt that this show was not going to be good anymore, season 3 of part 2 completely like revs you up to figure out where the story is going. It is absolutely incredible. The animation, the scene with Levi and the giant Titan is just like, I don't know about you guys, but I replayed that scene like 3 or 4 times over. I was like, oh my god. And then they had a whole thing online about how it was animated and like how it took like a month to just animate that just one scene. But yeah, I think Attack on Titan, and then just thinking about how it was just everywhere, even though they did take a huge break in between season 1 and 2, I think this thing is going to stick the landing when it comes back. So Attack on Titan.
I hope it does.
Yeah, like this is for me I have no interest in the show, but it needs to be on this list just because of its cultural impact. Its crossover potential was just amazing.
All right, so we got through all the things that had 3 votes, and through that, I think we
got 7.
We got Assassination Classroom, Made in Abyss, Noragami, and Attack on Titan that made it. Vinland Saga and One Punch Man moved into hold. All right, so what we're gonna do now is anything that has 2 votes.
Oh my god.
There's so many.
There's so many.
I know, anything that has 2 votes, I want everybody to go around and nominate something from 2 votes, and then we're gonna see if it makes it to the
I got one.
And if it doesn't go well, we're gonna start crossing things off our own personal list. So I'm gonna start with Jocelyn. I need you to nominate something that has 2 votes, and I'm gonna tell you why you're
Coordinator.
Hold on.
Oh.
Are you gonna do it or am I gonna do it?
I went down to the top.
Well, if you do that one, I'll probably do
We're picking the stuff we want to keep here, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So
I think.
Ready to fight.
Okay, I got one.
It's on the slope.
I think Ray Zero was a pretty strong anime. I feel like the characters are really connectable, and the story is pretty cool. Like just the fact that he can pretty much every time he dies, he gets reset. And I know it's also getting a movie as well. And actually,
Another season.
Another season. That's what it was. Sorry.
Oh.
I get it confused with is it wrong? Pick Up Girls in the Dungeons. Still.
How?
I think
And that almost made an argument against it, where it's just like, I get it confused with another show.
Well, I think ReZero
No, it's
has
just
the
Jocelyn.
cultural impact
That is true.
of
Yes.
Yeah.
like defining what we
So
think
I
of modern
hated
isekai.
ReZero.
I do too.
We know you
I do
do.
too.
I understand that it needs to be on there.
Yeah.
And that's the
It
thing, is we got-
redefined modern isekai, but I hated it. But it's what people think of who've never seen an isekai in their life.
Yeah.
That's what that's what
everybody,
the model
everybody
is.
in the room right now, when you think of isekai, what do you think of?
ReZero.
ReZero.
ReZero. Yeah.
Yep.
Sort of.
Okay, so
Try not to think about sword art.
I
Yeah.
think you skipped a
Yeah,
8.
you skipped 8.
I know. I
Okay.
didn't feel like bending. All right, so
I feel that.
ReZero. Let me get that crossed off.
Is it just funny, or is it wrong and not even on this list?
It's just a big show that's real
It's-
good, but
I
it's
know.
not like
Like there's surprising things that like I was like I'm surprised this didn't make
I'm
the
just
list, but
I'm
great
just
thing about
mentioning
it.
that.
But we can always bring it up and add it on later.
No.
yes. Let's make things more complicated.
Okay.
Fight.
I Liv's next, but I just want to quickly. As everybody picks things, I'm gonna say things I think we should delete off. Black Belt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
He gone.
Okay, Black Belt. Okay, cool. Black Belt is gone. All right, what do you nominate that should be on the
Oh
list?
god, this is hard.
It is.
Well, because there's Diamond is Unbreakable and Rakugo Shinju in here, which are 2 of my favorite series of all time.
I will back you on
JoJo's.
Rakugo Shinju.
On Shinju? Okay, and so will
Yes.
Quinn. I think that show is maybe the best anime I've seen in the last 10 years. It is such a moving piece of art with the characters and their relationships and the drama, and even something like, you wouldn't know what Rakugo, which is just like interactive storytelling, made me care about that.
Yeah.
And like
I had no
introduced
idea-
it to me.
I had no idea what this form of like acting in the show was, and after watching it, I had a giant interest in it because of how good the show portrayed it. And not to mention, like you said, Liv, like every character in the show is so damn interesting.
They are. yeah.
Good.
I will completely get behind you on that. I really think that I don't think enough people saw it, unfortunately, because it was very different. But
Yes.
yeah, it is
And-
super good.
And it's slower paced, so I think that kind of turns people that love the action shows off.
Mhm.
But it's building
so
before
good.
you even know it.
Yeah,
Like,
and
the
it's got-
intricacies of the characters and their plot lines. Before you get it, you're 10 episodes in and you're like, oh my god, like what? Like this,
Yeah.
this is like.
And
So much
I
is
mean,
happening.
Like the second season has a whole nother story to it that builds upon the original, and it integrates those characters.
Yep.
And like the cultural aspect, that's the thing I really, really enjoyed about this show, because you got to learn about the history of Rakugo itself.
Because it goes through the life of the main
I'm just gonna write it
character.
up here.
It goes through the
We
generations.
need stuff like this on this list.
Yes.
It is super important that something like this.
We also need a physical release. Anyway, I just threw that out there. I want one.
It's just probably one of the most beautiful
I'm not
pieces
gonna write the whole name up
of
there.
storytelling that I've seen in the past 10
Okay,
years.
so we're gonna put
Yes.
that. So
Yeah.
Liz nominated that.
Does anybody else hear the Jeopardy theme?
No, I'm just trying to think about it. I'm gonna say that we need to cross Durara off.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any argument? Do they want to keep that on here?
It got an honorable mention. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
The second season did not do it for me. All right, so Devlin, what do you think out of this list of things that have two
Two.
votes deserves to be on this list?
Well, I'm gonna vote Promise Neverland. Big surprise there, just because.
It's not in the twos.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
Remember, it's in
It's
the
definitely
right
you.
at the bottom.
At the very bottom.
For
Yep,
some
it's
reason,
that.
Excel did not
It
do what I told
sorted
it.
it. Yeah. Sorted with the two.
Promise Neverland for sure, just because that anime just changed my view of like the horror genre of anime, and honestly, it deserves it. And the manga just gets better and better each chapter. So, yeah. And then the second vote that I have is Mob Psycho 100, just because
Wait, we get
it
two
is.
votes?
So here's.
No, you get
We're
one.
gonna come back to Promise Neverland. Here's my thing. If we put Mob Psycho on here, we don't put One Punch Man on here.
It's true.
Because they're both
No.
by one, and I think only one of them probably deserves
I
to be
don't
on
want
the
One
list.
Yeah,
Punch Man on there either.
I agree.
I would say
Mob
One Punch
Psycho.
over Mob.
I would say Mob over One
I would say
Punch.
Mob over One
I would
Punch.
say
And I feel like One Punch has made a more
Mob over
cultural
One Punch.
impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The kids really love Mob.
Yeah.
The kids really love Reagan. He's not something to argue about. The kids love him.
Oh boy.
I personally haven't seen Mob.
So we're gonna do this.
I would still say one. I tried.
So we're gonna do this for now.
Or
I really liked Promise Neverland. I did, but I just don't think it deserves to be on this list.
I agree. In a 2019 best of the year,
Yeah.
best of the last 2 years, maybe best of the decade.
And this is my argument for it. Not to just like say I'm crapping on it. We're looking at things like Promise Neverland just came out this year, so we still have that hype for it. Like, if we look back on like right when I saw the first season of Ra in 2011,
Oh, yeah.
I would have been like, yeah, this needs to be on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're in 2019, and it's just like, it's Ra. I'm not saying that's how people are gonna feel about Promise Neverland, but
It's a possibility.
yeah, like it's. I don't want to say we don't want to nominate anything from 2019 on here because we do have Demon Slayer on here, but at the same time, it's how are we going to feel in
Yeah,
like
there's
10 years?
Definitely some recency bias going on here. We have to be
Yeah.
careful of with our picks. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can always tell sometimes where
But
that
if
juggernaut
somebody-
is coming from.
Somebody
too.
does want to jump on and argue for Promised Neverland still.
I could argue against it because people spoil things for me.
People at this table.
I'm just the voice in the
I don't want to be in the middle of this. I don't want to be in the middle of this.
You are.
Okay. That's gonna be next, but let me look through, see if anything needs to be cut off.
Wait, so did neither of his picks?
Oh, this is gonna hurt me.
They were in the hole.
This hurts me a
Yeah.
lot. I think that Blood Blockade Outfront should make the list.
Should it?
Not.
Should not.
And
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite shows. It was in my top 5, but
Yeah.
I understand why people
I mean,
may not like it or think it deserves to be in the top 25.
well, it's got a lot of great animation, and it had a female director that everybody was talking about. But I think a lot of its downfall was there was just too much going on for people to really get it on the first watch through, so you had to dedicate some extra time to really understand the show. But like I loved it too, so I have nothing against it. But yeah, for overall influences, I think it gets taken down a notch.
Yeah. Okay. So Quinn, pick something that you think should stay on the list.
It's so hard. I'm going with Haikyuu simply because I feel like it really propelled the sports genre into its own and made people say, hey, I can actually enjoy a show about sports without really caring about the sport because it cares about its characters over the sport they play. Why are you laughing?
Because Jocelyn's got a look on her face that I think she has another sports anime she wants to argue over.
What do you like more?
She like free.
Oh, that was a stupid question.
Yeah.
You and your boys, you can just go over there. Anyway.
So I don't think I voted for Haikyuu.
I voted for Haikyuu.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't vote for it, but it deserves to be on the list.
Yeah.
We need some kind of sports on
Yeah.
here. Kokoro's basketball is not going to be it.
I'd argue.
We can talk about Free in a little bit, but I
Down in
think
the
I can
one
say that
vote.
Free is probably not going to make it on the list. Fan service is great.
It got an honorable mention. I don't mind.
Does anybody think that Haikyuu should not be on here?
I think
It's not getting its place.
I think it's got such a wide range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a wide net that just captures everyone.
Wide
I
net,
mean,
get it.
if we're gonna actually fight for sports anime,
Yeah.
one that did
Yeah.
make a really
Yeah.
big impact was Yuri on Ice as well.
Yeah.
And that is
We haven't got to
technically
your
sports.
eyes.
Yeah, quick getting ahead of things.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just saying we're doing sports.
I know.
It propelled everybody into ice skating. That's what it did.
Yep.
And boys.
And
And boys. All right, so that got nominated. I absolutely love this show. We did a podcast on it, but I don't think Astro Lost in Space should be on here.
Nope.
No.
yeah,
Okay.
Once again, recency bias, I think, on that one.
it is very good.
Yeah. Good show. Definitely check it out.
Super good. Yeah. Felix, what on here that has 2 votes do you think should make it?
One is already there, Haikyuu, and the other one is Shirowako.
I completely agree with you. This absolutely needs to be on the list. Yeah, there is no anime that I've ever seen. I mean, there has been anime that have talked about people who create manga and anime, but that was as good as
yeah.
Shirobako, that showed how tight it gets on the deadline
Yeah.
for them to get this stuff in, the stresses they go through, the different personalities you have to juggle when creating this thing. Like Shirobako is absolutely amazing. So that I am going to argue for that one. Has anybody else seen it other than Ian? Okay, yes.
I have.
I
It's
agree
good.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
we're
in
looking at
deadline.
how art is created. I think Shirobako.
Yeah.
And anybody who's an anime fan should
Yes.
should know what they're
They should know
what they're producing, like
yeah.
what comes in producing something that they're watching every day. So
How much stress the poor people
Yeah.
go through
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
single episode.
All right.
And how much frustration there
and
is.
how little they're paid.
Ah, that too.
Okay, so that was the easy one. For things to kill off, so this hurts me to do it, but I think Lupin the Third, a girl named Fujiko Mine, who what I voted for, did not be on the list. And
Yeah.
I know you voted
I know,
for it too
but-
because I saw who else voted for it. I don't think it's like the true like idea of what
What
Lupin
Lupin
is, but I
is.
think it is absolutely awesome production. Like I
Yeah.
do wish that everybody would watch it.
Yep.
So, goodbye.
Bye.
Fujiko
Bye,
Mine.
Fujiko.
We love you. All right, Chris, what on this
Best
list do
girl.
you think should make it?
Well, Liv put me in an awkward situation because now there are 2 that I really want to argue for on this list, because since you passed on one that you mentioned, it makes it hard because I really want to push here for Kill la Kill because I think it was a
Yeah.
huge coming out party for Trigger.
Yep.
But
But-
I feel like we can't go on without talking about JoJo's. JoJo's was just such a cross-cultural phenomenon. It was like there was the whole meme of the to be continued bar popping up with the roundabout music kicking off.
So my question about JoJo's is we're only gonna put one JoJo's on here. Do we put Diamond is Unbreakable? Do we put Stardust Crusaders? Do we put
I would argue for Diamond is Unbreakable.
And I would think Stardust Crusaders, I think, is the
No.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I love Diamond is Unbreakable, but I
I
think
agree.
Stardust Crusaders
agree.
is going to be
Unfortunately,
the big
pinnacle
one.
of JoJo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is it.
Yeah.
when
Encapsulated.
did
in a
people
nutshell.
get on the bandwagon? It was
Stardust Crusaders.
Yep.
No, I agree. Stardust Crusaders as much as it's my
Yeah.
Okay.
least
I
favorite
feel
part.
the same way.
Cool. We solved JoJo faster than I thought we would. JoJo's does this.
Although I will have to agree with Kill la Kill. Since we put Promare on the
Yeah, that's the
movie
thing,
list,
like-
do we want to bring in Trigger on the anime list is my question.
Yeah, but I feel like Kill la Kill is where Trigger had their
Trigger,
big coming out
yeah.
party
Yeah, I
because, Like, they had sort of honed their stuff on Gurren Lagann, and this was their big way to say, hey, this is our style.
See,
this is what we do.
Now you brought up Gurren Lagann, and I'm going, but that was their, like...
That was their big. Their
Yeah, but that technically was still Gainax.
Yeah, that was Gainax.
Still, I associate them with Kill la Kill instead, and, like... Or not Kill la Kill, whatever.
Stardust Crusaders deserves to be on the list.
I got. Now
It
we're going
does.
Yeah,
sidetrack.
JoJo's does, like...
It took as much as it's.
JoJo's is fine. I think it's fine, but I will never argue that JoJo's isn't huge in, like, the
And
community.
Stardust Crusaders is really what brought it
Yeah.
to the
I can't
West.
tell you how
Yeah.
many times I go to a convention and I hear somebody just go, "Oh my god!" Like,
Yeah.
like it's
Like,
like,
Muda, 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 Muda.
yeah.
I mean, that's the
The
classic
memes are
Dio,
everywhere.
and no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
Not a big Stardust fan.
who thinks that Kill la Kill should be on the list? Raise your hand. Who doesn't think Kill la Kill should be on the list?
Boo.
It's okay, Miss. I have your back.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I'm gonna put it this way: after seeing Promare and loving Promare as much as I did, I can't wait to see what Studio Trigger does
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
Because I think that they're still slowly working their way to their masterpiece,
Yep.
and I think they're getting very close to doing it.
And I think they've proven in their other shows that they have more nuance. It isn't just screaming at the wall. I mean, we've got like Little Witch Academia
Yeah.
and SSSS Gridman, which I love, but I
Yeah,
don't think
that's
really
good.
makes the list. But
Yeah,
they're
that's good, man.
completely different shows, and they're just super awesome. And they've got a, like, yeah, their best is yet to come.
Yeah.
So I can concur with that.
Sorry, Kill la
Crusaders wasn't even
Kill.
on the list.
Yeah.
It got.
Okay.
I just have to say that Stardust Crusaders made it on the big list, but it wasn't on our paper.
Well, that's really funny.
No, I had.
But can we all agree that Stardust Crusaders?
I think
is-
so.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Okay. Stardust Crusaders.
If we had to put a JoJo part, and you definitely do.
Yeah. All
That
right,
is
so
beautiful.
I'm gonna knock one other thing off, and it's a. Oh, God. Well, I'm just kind of thinking about comedy, like. So I want to take Devil as a part-timer off,
Yeah.
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 but I'm also getting to the
It's
part.
good.
I'm
It's
also
good.
getting
It's just
worried.
I voted for it.
What comedy is
for
going to
it.
get nominated on here?
I think all four of us
Because
did.
comedy is a very important part of anime.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, I did. I had it on my list. I erased it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have no problem with it.
okay, Devil's a part-timers. Anybody want to like absolutely defend it?
People still say they want a second
Yeah.
season.
I
How
want a
many
second
years
season.
later?
Yeah.
A lot of things need a second
I want
season,
a
Yeah.
second season.
but
This-
I don't
this-
think it should be on the top of the decade.
It's still good.
It is still.
It is
Yeah,
good,
that's the
but-
tough thing about this list. Is just, all these things are good.
There's gonna be things that people.
But are they the
burn
top?
up when they
How
go
else
home.
do you hail a cab? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but I like how we were originally going to start out
get
doing
the
50, and we were like, nah, that'll be too hard. And now we're like struggling to narrow it down to
25
25.
is really hard.
We're halfway there almost.
Yes.
We got 12.
All right.
It says 13, but we still didn't do number 8 yet.
Yep.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 spots left. So we still have 12 spots left. Little, not exactly half, but close.
So, can we nominate somebody on the list of 2 that's influential that I didn't vote for, but I see it here and I'm like, oh my gosh.
What's that?
Madoka Magica.
Yeah,
Yes, Madoka needs
please.
to be on here.
Madoka needs to be
Just
on here.
because it's
Yeah.
like I've never seen it, but I already know that it redefined the magical girl
Yep.
thing
Yeah,
and
same.
made people
Burning
go, "What?"
expectations.
Completely
Yeah.
subverted it, yeah.
Alright.
And there's people who've seen Madoka that haven't seen anything else strictly because it's like something you show to your friend getting into anime who you don't know what they want to see their
By the way, I
expectations.
just realized there's no
Yeah.
17 on here.
Oh shoot! So we still do.
We got one more spot.
Missed a spot. Okay.
You had to bend over. That's why.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them now.
All right. So we still have 12 spots. So, okay. So Madoka made it on there. So I want somebody to argue against me with this one. It is my turn. And what do
All right. Thomas wants to fight.
Let's go.
No.
The title I was going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about now.
Yeah.
He does get a vote.
Okay, so Fate Zero is the one I think absolutely deserves to be
Yes.
on here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone
Begrudgingly.
argue?
I hate it, but yeah.
Why?
Actually, that's the only
It's
Fate
so
one I've actually
huge.
watched, and it's actually really good, and I want to
Yeah.
watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I will
Very
argue all
good.
day that almost a lot of
Yeah.
the other Fate stuff is really bad, but Fate Zero is great, and it had a lot to do with Gen Urobuchi actually writing the story.
Yep.
So, get past the first episode where they dump everything on you.
It
but-
can't.
Yeah.
You can't discredit it for starting just like a major
Oh, yeah.
franchise that's
Yeah.
still,
That will
yeah.
not
How many,
die.
how many of the minis like do we see getting
Oh,
sold
good grief.
all the
So
time?
many.
How many sabers
Okay.
do we have on our website?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's a bigger
Alice
question.
doesn't
How
count.
many?
So many figures with slashes in the
So,
name because we have to.
I'm
put
gonna
them
be
in
the
there.
bad guy again, and I'm gonna say Fruits Basket does not deserve to be. on
I
this list.
agree.
Recency bias.
I
again,
agree,
think
but
too
only
soon.
because I voted for it because it made me feel nostalgia for the original
Yeah.
series, but the remake does not deserve
No.
a place.
Like,
I think it's
not-
missing a lot of the comedy
Yeah.
that was really good about the original anime.
and it's
Yeah.
it's going where the manga goes, but it's going way too fast in a direction that's leaving out, like you said, the comedy, and
Yeah.
it's not as
It's not the elevated Fruits Basket that I was hoping
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
I will say
good.
that it kind of revitalized like coming home every week and like wanting to see that and seeing how they've adapted the series that I loved when I was a kid was like really like an awesome feeling, but they didn't do as good of a job as they could, and
I'm just glad that it actually,
it's still
got
continuing.
this.
It has the ability to get there in the future, but if it's only the season 1 right now, then I don't think it's.
All right. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
I won't fight you on that.
Okay.
We're mature adults.
This is okay. So we actually got through a whole round where it actually didn't go too bad. We got rid of some stuff. We kept some stuff on. So right now we still have for the was it 2 votes? After the Rain, Grimgar, the Fantasy and Ash, Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, Kids on the Slope. Mob Psycho is in hold right now, so that's where that is, and then Parasite. I want everybody to agree on something we need to cross off.
To cross off,
Yes, as a group.
Parasite.
I like
I disagree.
Parasite.
I disagree.
agree.
You know what? I want to see Kids on the Slope, and I voted for that.
You haven't seen
I would
it.
say
I know.
We need a Shinichiro Watanabe title on there, and I think Kids on the Slope is the best.
I think Kids on the Slope is my
So
second
good.
favorite anime of the whole decade.
Mhm.
But who else has seen it?
So we're
Okay.
talking about
I haven't-
space.
I haven't
We talk
seen
about
it.
Space Dandy. We talk about Kids on the Slope. We talk about Terror in Resonance. Carol and Tuesday hasn't come. Second part hasn't come out to Netflix yet, so we don't know how
It was
if it
very
sticks to
good series.
landing or not.
Mhm.
Out of those, what do people think the Shinichiro Watanabe title should be? That should be on here.
Bebop.
That came out in this decade. Okay.
No, I mean for the
Yeah, that's
for the
20 years ago.
2010s. I know, but whatever. You got me.
I agree with Liv.
Well, you said whatever. No, I mean Kids on the Slope is one of my favorite series of all time, and I think it is a really good look. And I'd honestly argue for it because I think it's a really good look at not only the past and the snapshot of that time period, but also music and how it can affect growing up in a kid's life. And I love that show.
I'm really big on anime
Yeah.
actually sticking the landing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kids on the Slope. I
Had
think
such a
absolutely.
charming ending.
And
I
it's
love
11 episodes, and it really doesn't have a lot of fat to it.
Yep.
So.
And it's not a second wasted, and it's also beautiful. I would argue for it.
Like, I really like it and I love it, but my one argument against it is that I remember more of the emotion that I felt watching it than the actual plot.
Fair enough.
That one might get erased. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be pretty crazy if we don't have a Shinichiro Watanabe title on there in the last decade. All right, so I said we need to cross something off. We ended up kind of.
And I want to put that on there. No.
I voted for it, but I think Grimgar, the Fantasy, and Ash should not be on here.
I agree with her. I agree.
And I love that show, and I think it's actually one of the more truer ideas of people getting thrown to another world and what the reality would be like.
Now, my argument to keep it, which I know is not gonna convince people, but I'm gonna say it anyway, is that it's got such a different look to it. Like, it's almost watercolors, and you didn't see that. It's slower moving, which I think a lot of like isekai and I'm in a video game or whatever, those shows don't do that. And it's so realistic because they don't know what is going on. They just know that they woke up in this world, and I think people forget that they got transported after a while because they just become one with the world. And there's no hint as far as the anime goes as to what's going to come in the future for them. So they just learn how to kill goblins really well.
Yep.
And there's the sense of finality as well, which hits home. Like the money that they save, they spend that so selfishly. And it's like, oh, good grief.
And they're all good people.
Yeah, they really are. And the character dynamics, they all fill their own roles, but at the same time, those roles serve a purpose within the group.
I feel like if we talk about this
Yeah.
anymore, I'm going to argue that we need to put it on the list.
We need to put it on the
I
list.
think we need to cross it off now
Damn it.
before that ends up happening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. Go
All
watch
right. I think we do need a Gundam title on here.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because it was a good decade for Gundam. After the 2000s with 00 and a lot of the other stuff, and I think this was actually a decade where Gundam came out again. And so the three are Iron-Blooded Orphans, The Origins, and Thunderbolt.
I want to make a case for Iron Blooded Orphans.
Okay.
Because not only was it, well, I mean, it was on Toonami. It was broadcast, and I have a lot of friends who've never seen Gundam, myself included. It was my first Gundam series. So I think looking at it as a snapshot of just that season got me into Gundam without really having to know the backstory, but was still fascinating. The characters were awesome. The action was like,
It's the equivalent of Gundam Wing, where you just kind of like
Yeah.
fall into it, watch it, and go, "This is great.
okay,
I need
lied.
more."
Wing was my first Gundam.
Aw.
How could I forget? But no, I mean, I think that I saw more of my friend group getting into Gundam for the first time from Iron Blooded Orphans, and it's, as a Gundam, it holds up, but as its own show, it's also just a really phenomenal action-packed ride with awesome characters and good relationships.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about
Yeah.
it. That's for sure.
Yep.
I hated the second season of Iron-Blooded Orphans.
So did
I didn't like the ending.
I haven't seen it at all. I don't know what to talk.
My vote for would be Gundam The Origins.
Yes.
But
That's where I go.
is that really considered an OVA?
technically.
More than
Yeah.
a
Technically,
show?
yeah, because it was put out in 6-hour-long episodes over
Yeah.
the span of something like 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Technically,
think Gundam
it's-
Unicorn started in 2009, didn't it?
Yeah,
Gundam
Unicorn's too early,
Gundam
exactly.
Unicorn would be the one I'd put on there,
a
but
Gundam.
Though the televised version came out later.
yeah.
So we could really try and slide it in under the door there, but like if I were to pick one of the three, I think it would be The Origin, but if we're going to be, it has to be a TV show.
I honestly want to
Yeah.
pitch in here. It's not a Gundam series that's on the list, but it was one that I last minute deleted off of my list, which is Gundam Build Fighters. And I feel like it was more of like a fun kind of get into like Gundam a little bit by like the means of like Gunpla itself. And like it was like how a lot of kids actually got into Gundam too, and I feel like it like kind of turned the community a little bit more into Gundam fans for like the younger generation.
Yeah, I
So
can see that.
my only argument for Build Fighters is that show was built to sell toys. And Iron-Blooded Orphans has like some good commentary on a lot of stuff, and
Yeah, and Build Fighters, yeah, storyline wise, it doesn't really deviate much from your like Pokemon, Metabots, sort of like the
It's
I'm
not
gonna fight to
true.
be the best.
Yeah.
But I think Build Fighters, like especially the first one, I did watch. I thought it was great. The animation was great, and if you're a Gundam fan, there's so many small little cameos.
Oh,
that
man,
they
yeah.
do. It's full. Like it's a lot of fun for.
Well, just the fact Ron Rawl shows up as a regular, that cracks me up, and
But-
he's in the Origin also, but his story is much more grim there.
You know, I didn't like the second season of Iron-Blooded Orphans, but I won't deny the fact that I think Iron-Blooded Orphans brought in a lot of people into Gundam
Yeah.
that weren't necessarily Gundam fans.
It is like a modern version of Wing, where it's just like we sort of tweaked it for a different market.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked really well.
So if we're gonna put a Gundam title on this list, Iron-Blooded Orphans,
Done.
sound good?
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
can see
You know my
that.
feelings on
I know you're the Gundam. Like, you're getting the Gundam on here though.
Yep,
Would we rewrite stuff if we didn't put a Gundam on?
So.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's an obligatory.
It's
Please
not our
watch The
Gundam.
It's not our
Origin.
Gundam.
It's not even our Gundam.
Watch Thunderbolt. Oh, go back, watch the original. I'm just
Yeah,
saying stuff
Thunderbolt's
now. Watch
really
Giant
good 'cause
Robots.
I like the
All right.
jazz and stuff in Thunderbolt. It's
Oh
really
man, yeah,
nice.
the music
Yeah.
is such a good part of
No,
Thunderbolt.
there's,
But anyway,
there was so much good Gundam this last 10 years, like even for
Yeah.
people who aren't Gundam fans.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to be negative again, and I'm going to say we crossed Parasite out.
I agree.
And I was the one that voted for it. I loved Parasite. I think the show should have ended with the scene with the woman and the child that takes place. I think it's at a zoo. Does that sound right, Quinn? I know you've seen it.
I watched it when it was originally streaming. I just know that it like was a remake of an 80s manga that like really brought it more to the forefront, and the animation got updated and people were talking about it a lot. I mean, I waited for the complete series to come out before I actually bought it, but it was on my to buy list for years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh.
I can see it getting struck down. It's
All
okay.
right. Sorry, Parasite. I am a huge fan of yours, but all right. So that actually leaves us with just one thing left, and this one's going to be kind of an interesting argument because I don't know how many people saw it. After the Rain. I really love this one, but I really don't know how many people have seen it.
I've only read the first volume of the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Never
it on
seen
my
it.
list?
I've not seen it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's between Silent Voice and Astro Lost in Space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to cross it off the list. I really do like it, and I think if you're looking for something that has to do with a very taboo subject of a young girl who falls in love with an older man, that's actually done very tastefully and it never
realistically.
goes over the line.
Yep.
Please seek
Very
out After
good.
the
It's
Rain.
very
It's
good.
only
I
on
read it.
Amazon.
Yeah.
There's no way to get it physically,
Really?
sadly, but check it out. Okay, so we actually just got through all the twos. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spots left.
That's enough for all mine. That's okay. Just put all mine on there. It's fine.
That's not how this works.
Unfortunately, it does not work that way. All right, so now we're gonna start crossing a lot of stuff off. Okay.
I feel like maybe we should just
You can
argue for
cro-
the
you can
ones that
cross
we
off
think
clear
should make the
card.
list.
Clear
That
card?
was my
Okay.
bias, and I'm sorry.
Okay. These are supposed to be your personal list.
Yeah. And I will say, like, most of my picks that are on the ones now are going to be expendable.
Yeah.
I'll make an argument for one of them.
Okay.
2 of them.
I've got one.
I know you put
Someone's
Castlevania,
on
but
two.
Castlevania wasn't actually, or you put Castlevania.
Yeah, I put
It wasn't
Castlevania.
actually an anime, so
Yeah.
but it was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were an old school side-scroll Castlevania fan, you were in heaven because they actually made a good show out of it.
Yeah, it was so good.
One that I feel like we can cross off the list is Darling in the Franxx.
I
Yep.
completely agree.
Yeah.
Wanted.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
It was a big
Goodbye.
show, but it had a lot of controversy and a lot of what is going on.
And like we already said, Promare
Black
triggers.
Clover,
Yeah.
I
Don't
think we
cry,
can
baby.
cross off just
Yeah.
because
Sorry.
we had a lot of
I
show
can't take the yelling.
I feel
Yeah,
like
Black
the
I
Clover
don't
is
like
bad.
Oh my god. I couldn't get past the third
Yeah.
episode.
He's just
Yeah.
too
Show,
loud.
but
Just yells
I
too much. Boy
I
yells.
wouldn't say
Fire
that's
Force
the
just
best.
hasn't taken
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Like I even thought Fire Force was going to be the thing, and then Dr. Stone and Demon Slayer was like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Started talking about that.
So yeah,
And then Promare came out, and I feel like it did the same thing better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree taking.
It's not the same thing.
Fire Force
No, it's not.
off the
It's not the same thing.
Just
But
because the
it's
manga's
very
better.
similar.
But
So Fire Force.
I would fight you on Black Clover just
There are
because
3 on here. that
how
I'm feeling
this
passionate
latest
about.
arc where
One I
they're
didn't
wrapping
even
it
go
up,
for.
it is so intense. It is what the story has been building to.
So Black Clover. I mean this in the nicest way. As somebody who watched all of Naruto, you always get into the point where you're like, yeah, it is kind of bad, but wait till you get to blank.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
what episode's that? Oh, it's 100 something. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have the time to get to the,
And
the
I'm-
good stuff.
And my argument for Black Clover not being on the list is that I started watching it, dropped it, and now what episode are they up to? Like near hundreds?
100.
They're in the hundreds
Already?
So
Yeah.
so now
Yeah.
that there's more people talking about how good it is, I put it back in my queue, but I haven't started it back up
Yeah.
yet. I mean, I dropped it. It's only the reason that people were talking that it's so good that I'm like, okay, maybe I can put up with all the yelling.
I'm shocked that there's that many episodes.
I know, right? I was
It
too.
seemed like it's been out that long.
Yeah.
It's honestly great. That's why. Just saying.
Another one I'm gonna vote to cross off is Fooly Cooly Alternative.
Yep.
Yeah.
It just isn't Fooly Cooly.
Yep.
It's good, but it's not like Fooly Cooly.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool, cool.
Another one I'm gonna vote. It was my vote. Flowers of Evil. It is not for everybody.
No,
it's
it's
very
not.
dark and it's very bleak and it's rotoscope and it hurts some people's eyes. but
Though
I
in
really
the
like
same
it.
way, I didn't vote for Devilman, but I would make a case for it.
It's the reason why I haven't crossed it off yet.
'Cause- can I make a case for it?
We aren't there
Yeah.
yet.
We are there. We passed it. He's skipping around.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did not vote for it, but I do. It's one of those things where I've seen people watching that, and like the fandom explode around that series. Online is insane. Like the amount of people who've never watched anything that are talking about Devilman Crybaby, and that it revitalized a series that's like what 40-ish years
Yeah,
old,
people started
Yeah.
looking.
and people are not
Show the
watching
guy.
the original.
Yeah.
So
If I absolutely loved the animation, it wasn't for everybody, but I thought the story was perfect. There's no fat on there. It was 11 episodes. It told the story it needed to tell. It has a lot to do with things that are going on in our own world right now. and issues that we're suffering from, and
Yep. And it was the first time that I saw Netflix make a big name for like an anime title that they'd gotten.
who else could have got the money to make something like this
Yeah.
other than
Yeah.
US
And they did
Netflix team?
they did phenomenal with it. And
Okay, do I have everybody's agreement I can put that woman up?
Yes.
Congratulations, you did it.
Congratulations.
everything I've made a case
I didn't even know this so far.
Oh.
People listen to the podcast know how hard he was pushing for that one.
Yeah.
advocate.
He was holding himself back, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I gushed about it too much. Okay.
One that I think
So-
we can take off the list is Digimon Fusion.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
guys.
That's just mostly because
Jocelyn, are you gonna
Digimon
meet me if I
was
say-
competing with Pokemon,
And why fusion?
but it's
Yes, I
the only
will.
one that came
I
out
want
this decade.
I want Future
That was,
Diary
like,
off the list
good.
so bad.
Yeah,
I agree.
that
Future
mean?
Diary should not be on there.
I want it gone so
Future
bad.
Diary is not good.
Yeah, no.
I do not like the portrayal of what they do to the female.
Can I just say I
character.
gave it a rewatch this last year, and 13-year-old me enjoyed it a hell of a lot. 26-year-old me is
No.
just, dear Lord, no, I couldn't
No.
even. It's so terrible.
I completely agree. I think Future Diary needs to be off.
Bye.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You're just killing my list.
All right.
Everything.
It's cool.
We'll get you a better list.
I
It'll
wasn't
be
gonna
fine.
say 3.
I like my
Did you
All
want me to
right.
say 3 and make her mad?
Let's
Yes.
fight about this one. Rise of the Shield Hero has no place on this list.
No, it doesn't.
Nope.
Yeah.
We're not fighting about it.
I'm not gonna
it's
get into the
good,
reasons
but-
why I don't like it, but we have plenty of isekai out there.
Yeah.
Okay,
It is the big show of like this last couple of
Yep.
years, but is that hype gonna last?
Have you ever seen an anime get more than 2
More,
seasons
yeah.
announced at once?
This is like a new realm of where we're going in the future for how anime is produced. So no, but it's gonna happen more and more frequently. It will. It will.
Alright, sorry. Rise of the Shield Hero is dead.
Can we kill 3 while she's down?
No!
Yes.
Okay, that's all for a second. Jocelyn, why should Free be on this list?
Haru and Makoto. The end.
Okay, we're crossing it off the list. That's not my answer.
Oh, your ship is sunk.
Very much so.
Crossing Gundam the Origin and Gundam Thunderbolt off because we already had discussions about that.
Yeah.
Single
Yeah.
tier. Can I start to fight for one now?
Yeah, the next one, you go. You go
All
first.
right. One I think should be on the list because once again I think it had a big crossover is Agretsuko.
But she's not even on here.
Yeah, she
Oh,
is.
yes,
She is.
I
I-
honestly could get on there on
Yeah.
the boat with this
I
one.
could too.
Because like that's one that I think has a lot of mainstream crossover. Like I'm looking at like Instagram and other social media, people that I thought would never watch anime were just like, this girl speaks to me. Because it's just, and I think
and
this
the
would be good to
merchandise
take.
And
Yeah.
everything is
Yeah.
just boomed around
Yeah.
I
here.
can't tell you how many people were like, I really like that Hello Kitty show.
Yeah.
That-
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what? And they're like, Agretsuko. And I'm like, oh, the anime. And they're like, what's anime?
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
Well, it
But,
doesn't
like,
look
it-
like an anime.
no, the dub it, like,
Yeah.
I'm not a huge dub fan. Great dub.
yeah,
Oh,
The dub is
dub's so
super
good.
Yep.
And it deals with so many things people can relate to.
Exactly.
In an office setting. And I
Yeah.
think that show, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm totally
let's put
okay with
it
I
that.
think that needs to be on the
Okay
list.
with
So.
that.
And it's just hilarious. There's our comedy.
There we go. Now we can get completely like drama.
Let's get bummer time now.
Yeah.
Which one has the most child death on
I
the
want to
list?
fight.
Let's go
I
with
want to
that.
fight for one, and we're not talking about orphan
Horrible.
sale here.
It's too much child
So
death.
this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna starting at A Lull in the Sea to the end of the list. Jeez. I need. Let's start with Jocelyn. We need everybody to take an item off the list.
Take an item
Take an
off.
item
Take an
off.
item
Your
off.
list?
Yeah, take an
Your
item
list
off.
specifically.
Yes. Item off your personal list.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Ready. Done. I could take them all off
Okay.
except one.
There you
Okay,
go.
which one do you want to fight?
I want to
for?
fight for March Comes In Like a Lion, and that's only because
So which ones do you want me to cross off? Let's
you
do
can
that.
cross off Kaguya-sama, JoJo, Nozaki-kun, O Maidens of Your Savage Seasons. I know.
I
You can
know.
fight for it.
It was really good.
It was
but
so good.
more
The manga
people
is
would've saw
so
it.
good.
Yeah.
Orange,
Yep.
and no, I want to keep the other ones. I lied. Because I have Princess Jellyfish and Tatami Galaxy left. And I think they both make really awesome commentary, but that's fine.
Okay. So you crossed off a lot. That's good. I
Yeah.
didn't hear anybody say no, keep it. So we're good.
Those were biases
Jocelyn,
for
what do you
me.
want to get rid of?
We can get rid of Umara-chan.
Okay.
And it's kind of on the border, but that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
I agree with that getting taken off. Like I said, I think we're just in. We have enough. It's isekai to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Devlin.
Come back to me on that. Actually, wait. I can cross. We're crossing off too.
Cross off as many as you can, and then if somebody wants to argue to keep it, we'll go from there.
As much as I love Pokemon the Origin, it did have a good hype in the beginning when it was first released, but
I had a really good time. I think Pokemon the Origin is the purest Pokemon thing that's ever existed.
Yep.
And if you want to watch an anime Pokemon, I really do say that Origin is the way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's not like
It doesn't.
best of the decade,
It doesn't
you
deserve to be
know.
on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the other one?
I'm looking at Tokyo Ghoul.
Hi.
Yes, I agree.
Bye bye.
Which
That
does have a
almost
good
got
fun,
to its
Oh,
what
the
it's supposed to,
Zombieland
but I
Saga's
think
mine
when they
too.
got to the second season and it went off the rails.
Yeah, that's when it lost everyone.
I forgot I had Zombieland Saga on there.
That can
Huh?
go too.
No! Zombieland Saga, best anime of 2018. Best anime of 2018.
Never mind.
All right, Quinn, what do you want to get off?
None of them.
This is why we're doing this.
I know. I'm gonna strike out Barakamon. I loved it.
Me too.
It's such a good slice of life show, and it's got a little bit of the culture because of that calligraphy. But I mean, it's a nice, fun show. Hinamatsuri, its comedic timing was awesome, and I loved that part of it. But the story itself is nothing extravagant.
It
it's
really
just
does meander.
yeah, it
later on.
does. But it's just a bunch of fun. I love Suritama, but I think it's just not everybody's
fun.
cup of tea.
It is fun.
It is
And
so
it's
much
so different.
fun. It is. Like, it took me, like, I watched the first episode and went, nah, not my thing. And
But
then
it's called
it
the
bothered
duck
me.
anime.
So I went and watched it and loved it. And it's got a duck named Tapioca. Come on. Let's see. Skull-faced
Honda-san.
bookseller
Yeah.
Honda-san.
Sorry, Honda-san.
I mean, it had so much relatable content, and
Why
I
don't
was
we just
right
say
there.
we're crossing it off because
Yeah,
it was
it's-
short, like short episodes.
No,
Yeah.
that was the fun part. I
I know
love
that is what's made, but the only reason we're cutting off because I actually think it's really great and it falls into the Gretzko kind of
Yeah,
style.
it
of,
does.
Like, I've dealt with that. I've dealt with retail.
But Agretzico is a little more
I did
general.
work in a
Like,
bookstore for 2 years.
Bookseller Honda-san is like, yeah, I worked at a comic shop for
Yeah.
14 years.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, that's just like, oh, my pain.
I worked in just regular retail for the longest time, and I was like, yep, true.
You know
It's
what
all
I didn't
true.
vote for, but I'd make an argument for? Nichijou. And I know you hate it.
It's okay.
I know you hate it. It's on here. I can vote for it.
It's just.
But for like the peak of comedy anime,
Oh, I know a lot
and
of people love it.
people just love it. Like they just.
But I've already crossed it off my list.
what
sorry.
was the original series? It's blanking right now.
Lucky Star?
Not Lucky Star.
What was it? The one that's
The
going.
famous one. Azumanga Daioh.
Oh, yeah.
It is very much Azumanga
Yeah.
Daioh with a bit
But for
more
20
weirdness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, it did give us
When I
identical
think
German
of comedy
suplexing a
anime
deer.
of the
You
last.
just like
I
saying
know.
that.
Yeah, you just like that.
Yes, because it's the best.
When I think of comedy anime of the
7
2010s, I
spots
think
left.
Nichijou.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
You have 7 spots.
And we
left.
haven't really had
No.
any comedy on here.
I'll put it. Here
Put it in the
for
hold.
now.
Okay,
Yeah.
in hold.
And I
I
didn't
feel
even
like
vote for it, but I would
the
make an
other
argument
comedy
for
I
it.
would argue that should be on
No.
the list is Pop Team Epic.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like that had a lot of crossover too.
That-
where-
that-
But it was
so
so
niche.
polarizing.
also, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it is very much
The big
a.
thing with that too is so many people were going to the internet to try to figure out what the jokes were.
Yep.
Yeah.
They were very Japanese.
Oh man,
jokes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
they
very
were.
weird.
And there were some episodes that hit great, and there were some episodes where you got through it and you were like, "What?"
What
What did I
just
just
watch?
watch? Yeah,
Yep.
that is true. I'll give you that.
So, Pop Team. Quinn, did you have any others to get rid of, or we go to Felix?
I can take off Hyoka. Like,
Sorry.
I love the show itself, but I only learned of it when everyone was so excited that it was finally getting a physical release, and I was like, "What is this thing people are talking about? I've never heard of it." So I love it, but I can't defend it to keep it on here.
Okay. Felix, what do you want to get rid of that's on this list?
Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Okay.
Another isekai so.
I know.
And No Game No Life.
I agree with that one too.
Yeah, it's good. I like it, but too much isekai.
Yep. Anything else?
Did you put Run with the Wild on there? Because that's a good
All
show.
right,
Run with the
so
Wind.
Chris, what
That's
do you
what
want to
I
get
meant.
rid of?
All
I say why
right, I put
not?
these on here just sort of to fill up the list to get to 25, but
very good.
Kimono Michi can go. Too new and not popular enough. Let me see, what else did I have on here? As much as it bums me to say Teasing Master Takagi-san, that's another one I feel like is a more of a niche one that not a lot of people have watched. But it's just really sweet and nice, and you should watch it. Let me see, did I have anything else here? Because we already covered Skullface Bookseller. Yeah, I'm running out of stuff that I even have on the list. So
I'm just going to go through it, and then if I hear a lot of groans, I'm just going to cross it off.
Okay.
Wait.
Zombieland Saga.
Yeah, you can cross it off. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
It's okay.
I love
it. It was
it.
really good. It's my
love it.
favorite idol thing I've ever seen.
I've never seen an idol anime, and I love Zombieland Saga. Just fight for it.
I
Love
tried
those
it.
girls.
Okay,
Love
so
those
we're
girls.
going to get to this at some point. Yuri on Ice.
Yeah,
Should be there.
It should be there.
It should be there.
It should be there. I
Do we
don't.
all agree?
Oh.
so many people, like once
So
again, that-
many people watch that show.
The hype was
The
just
hype has
so
died
big,
down.
and now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, where did it go?
Yeah, but we're talking about the whole decade, not just like what's still
But the
popular.
whole
in
decade,
2019.
it's the whole decade of 10 years. This is like a blip. that just
2016 on.
there-
It was a very
It was
big
a very
blip.
big blip.
So
It got people
I guess-
interested in ice skating.
So I wasn't a Yuri on Ice fan, but the argument of its representation of a male couple.
But they're
Yeah.
not, according to other people. Anyway.
According to
It had, and it, like you said, it got people into ice skating. It got people into ice skating.
An anime
I love ice skating.
I know I
Not
didn't go ice skating
got
after
people into
watching
I
anime.
love ice skating.
It went the other direction.
Yuri on Ice is going over here, but I really think it's going to make the
But I
list.
have
Yeah.
people who are like looking up skating routines and
Oh, I know.
because
I know.
they saw him on.
But the fandom of Yuri has like migrated to ice skating. It's no longer in anime, in my opinion. I'm like, okay, there went.
Yoma of the Dawn.
Sorry, bye.
Yep.
That's my favorite
It-
series of all time. One of my favorite
It needs
shows.
another season so bad.
It is good. It's just not best of the decade.
It is
But,
my
like, the
favorite
way it
manga
ends-
series
Yep.
of
the
the
way
decade.
it ends in the anime is just
But the anime is not up to par yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is my favorite manga series. I'll say that.
I think Wodokoi was mine.
Wodokoi was mine.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
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 Favorite.
It was just Jocelyn.
Wait, no, it wasn't.
I'm going to take it off the list.
Sorry, Wodokoi.
Sorry,
it was
but
on mine.
What's Wandering Sun?
But Wodokoi.
See, that's the problem with Wandering Sun. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
Sorry.
never heard of it.
So
Speaking of
Wandering
Yuri, it was
Sun
good.
never got a physical release over here in the U.S., but it has such a like realistic representation of a transgendered person who isn't quite sure about where they're going with their sexuality.
Oh, Huh.
And it's
I've
done
seen that
so
featured online.
yeah, it's so tastefully
Yeah.
done, and it's so empathetic with his cause
seen
and,
clips
and
of it on-
everything.
on-
yeah, and he has a friend who's a supportive friend who doesn't quite know what to
Yep.
do, but still wants to be there. It's so wonderful of a portrayal of real life problems. And I wish that this had an actual stateside release because it deserves it. But I know because people haven't seen it or at least have heard of it, it's probably not going to make the list.
Well, this platform is also a
Yeah.
place where we can talk about the things that we voted for. But I would say
Yeah.
Wandering Sun won't make the list.
It won't, but it
this
needs.
is the time that we
So
make our argument for.
Yeah, fine.
It is a very good show for the decade.
Yeah, this is where we figure out what we like at the bottom of the list before we start shipping the holds in.
Suke Gakuri.
Tsukigakire.
It's really good,
It
but
is
it's not.
the reason why you love stories.
Yeah, it's very wholesome. It's a very good watch,
yes.
but I don't think it's.
It's the
Best of
pinnacle of the romance genre, not of the decade.
Yep, I
So
agree.
there you go.
I agree.
Yeah, we can cross
All
that
right.
too.
The Tatami Galaxy.
I'll fight for Tatami Galaxy.
We have Devil May Cry.
Oh, we do.
And it's a Yuasa.
Okay, sorry.
That was easy.
No, I mean,
That was a quick fight.
The Eccentric Family. It's great, but
Yeah,
it doesn't deserve to be on the list.
It got a second season that
Yeah.
was also very good.
Both are good.
They're very good.
I would say no to Magus
yeah,
I agree with that one,
Because
too.
it started really strongly.
the
but
story starts
it's
to
just-
wander. It doesn't do anything to stand out from the other fantasy
Yeah.
genre shows.
Yeah, it starts very strongly,
it's
but
good,
it doesn't
yeah.
stick around very long.
All right.
Yeah.
Tanaka-kun is always listless.
That's my favorite. It's gonna get cut, but I love it. I didn't want to do it myself. I couldn't.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
S Gridman.
Sorry, Gridman.
It was good.
It was
was
really
good.
cool,
It's been on
but
there.
I can totally understand it's not in the top 25. I feel like that's something that people are going to discover further down the road.
And it deserves the attention too, because it is very good. Like
It is really cool.
I went and watched it just out of curiosity and ended up sticking around for the whole thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is good.
It's got a lot of depth to it for just something based off a 90s Sentai show.
I think we already talked that Space Dandy was not going to make the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Even though it was very good.
The same way with Snow White
Yeah.
and Yona.
It was really good
It
too.
was so
But-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seven Deadly Sins does not deserve to be on this list.
No, it does not. Sorry.
No.
Fine.
Sorry.
I will say, like, it does have, like, a really powerful, like, anime character in it that should be on, like, most powerful anime characters.
All right.
But yeah, as a whole.
Run with Wild.
Run with the wind.
Oh,
It's
run-
wind, not wild.
I put it wrong.
Sure.
I had a lot of these to write.
Yeah.
In super
Yeah.
tiny font.
So Run with the Wind.
It's really good, but
It
it's
to me, no, it's like the pinnacle. Like it does what Haikyuu started, and it just wraps it up in a shorter version, and it sets out to have that high point of an ending, and it just will end right there. It made me grab the Kleenex at the end because it was a happy tear ending where everything wrapped up and the characters have great development. They support each other, and it's just about running. Like, what can you do with that? At least with volleyball, you have a sport to connect people with and to talk about and
Have
to say the
rules.
rules. What?
People will argue that running is a sport.
Running
yeah.
isn't a sport. However, all you do is run.
Yeah,
cannot
the
run.
rules are much simpler than volleyball.
Yeah.
So to me, it was so an emotional show that I didn't see coming. It came out of left field that just made me want more, but I'm happy with where it ended, and it's just a perfect package. And I want more people to see it. Darn it!
It's very good.
Go watch it
It's very good.
because they're gonna kill it. See what happened. See what happened right there. I know what happened. There it goes.
So I think this is gonna get a little interesting now. Rascal does not dream of Bunny
Bunny
Girl
Girls.
Senpai. It was good.
It was
Does it deserve
good.
to be in the best of the decade?
No,
Okay.
it's still good though.
It's
Yeah,
still
it was
good.
very good, and it came out of nowhere.
It did. It really did. And it's got so many twists, and it's each individual character has their own little plot line. They have their own ending version of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good.
Princess Jellyfish.
Bye. I'm sorry.
It was very good.
It's one of my favorites, but I can't justify it.
Mushishi.
I'm fighting for that one. So
So-
Mushishi is more of a niche show. Anybody? No.
I've seen
No.
it.
Okay, we've got one. Two.
I might be able to be
Maybe.
argued that this needs to be on the list.
So-
So I'm gonna put it under
Okay.
hold for now.
Okay. I'll stop there then.
Girl, Nizaka-kun, gone.
No. But
Yeah.
I might argue for March Comes. Well, I know you guys are
I
cut
would
it.
back you for March Comes Like a Lion because I think that's a really important show.
I think
too.
it's a phenomenal show that deals with depression
Yes.
and presents
Yeah.
it in such an honest way, and the concept of found family and how you don't have to like what you're born with, and you can find the family for yourself.
I think
Again,
that's okay.
I
as much as the silent
yeah.
voice is important about that kind of stuff in adolescence, I think March Comes in Like
It's
a Lion.
so
Yeah.
powerful, and it does it in such a subtle way.
And I think that's part of the problem with it, though. Like, I love the show, but people associate it more with the game that he plays. Like, you
See,
don't
I don't even
immediately
pay attention to the game
See,
scenes,
Shoji, it's like, okay, it's a very elevated version of chess.
but it made me understand Shoji a little bit better.
I still don't know what's going on, and I've watched that thing twice. I'm like, they're moving pieces, and they do things,
Yeah.
and they fall off, and then they come back. I don't know what's going on with this show.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that up here
Yeah.
because I think we could argue that one.
But it's
and then I
very
have
good.
nothing else to
Um,
argue for.
I absolutely loved it. I don't think enough people have seen it. Land of the Lustrous.
Land of the
Okay, it was
Illustrious
very
is,
good.
Land of the Illustrious is notable simply because it's 3D that doesn't look
Yeah.
3D.
Yep, this is the first time somebody took 3D
Yeah.
CGI and made it look
Very good.
beautiful.
House of Five Leaves.
I don't know what that is.
You're killing me.
I'm sorry. Will you tell me what it
These
is?
are older. they're before your 22 years started, apparently.
This is 2010 and onward.
I know, you missed out. Anyway,
I'm confused.
you were too young.
2010 and onward? Would I be too young?
I don't know.
Is it a remake?
You're making me do math now. Stop it.
Is it a remake?
No, it's not a
So,
remake. So
House of
anyway, House of Five Leaves.
It's not gonna make it.
Nope.
I know, but just to put it out there so Liv knows what I'm talking
Yeah, I don't
about.
wanna-
So this is a samurai who has been down on his luck. His lord has been let go, so he's out of a job and he's looking to make money so he can actually survive. And he comes across what would be considered a yakuza,
Okay.
but he wants to be on the up and not get involved. but he gets hired without knowing the guy's a Yakuza, and he makes this big wad of cash, so he's eating. He's not hungry for the first time. He can pay his rent. So he's got this struggle between being the morally upright person he wants to be and eating. So he gets drug into this Yakuza world and actually starts enjoying their company, which makes him feel even more guilty. So it's really got, it does have a very unique art style, which when it came out, put people off. Like, it streamed on Funimation originally, and then it just kind of lagged, and then NIS picked it up for a physical release license. So it has had a bumpy road, so I can see why it won't be on there, but if you have a chance to find it somewhere,
I want to check it out.
yeah, definitely watch it. I loved it.
right.
It's great.
Given.
No. I like it. I like it.
I know. No. I will agree that we've been talking about the most recent shows. We have to keep that in perspective. So I can see why it would be struck, but I would hope that it would get elevated in the next decade, where people are talking about it and remember it.
I hope it has an impact.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
because it's so well done.
Yep.
This is my choice from the New World, Shingeki Yori. I'm okay to get rid of it. It was my number 2 of the decade, but it's not for everyone. Food Wars, I do not think this deserves to be there.
No.
Sorry.
With how much we've been selling with merchandise, though.
It's a big hit, but it's food porn.
so good. And
Well,
honestly,
there was
it
a
made me
hentai out there.
look at cooking through a different light. Like,
Here's what I'm gonna do. If aliens came down from space and we had to give them 25 shows to show them the representation of what
You
the
give
anime
them
was for the
Food
day,
Wars.
then you gave them Food Wars.
They might be
that we
terrible.
eat.
They would be like, people have to battle to eat.
So,
I mean,
You know what also does the same thing? Good Eats.
And Alton Brown.
Give them Alton Brown.
Alton Brown would never.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Food Wars is not gonna make it.
my list is done.
Alton Brown is a
Is that the
Dude,
last
I'm with
shining
you
hope?
there. I'm okay.
Is that the last shining hope?
Yo.
Death Parade was mine. It's great, but I don't
Let's
think
cut
it
it.
deserves to be in the top 25.
Go your list.
I did not choose this one, but I could get behind Haikyuu. I really easily could.
My problem is that I really love it, but I don't know how to defend it, because it's about a poetry card game that's
Oh, yeah.
only really played in
It's
Japan.
very good.
It's very
Well,
good,
the
and
same
it makes
way
it
But it's
so
the characters
tense.
that make it so
Mark
good.
That's true,
Swanson
too.
like a lion.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're both similar vibey shows.
They are. I don't know.
So if I had to pick one, I would pick Threegatsu, but I don't.
To me,
I like
Chihaya
Chihaya
is very
Yeah,
good, but I don't think it should.
Carol
be
and Tuesday has not.
I don't think it
No.
should be on the list either.
Yeah.
No.
And then the last thing is ACA 13 Territory Inspection Agency.
And I liked that, but no.
You forgot a Lull in the Sea too. That's still there.
Oh, sorry, I have it down next to
Yeah.
it. Lull in the Sea too. So those are
Yeah.
the last two.
So
Lull in the
yeah,
Sea has
okay.
no resolution.
It does too. Did you watch the whole
I
thing?
did, and I'm not happy with it, and that's
I watched Lull in the Sea too. I don't think it deserves to be on.
Well, my whole thing is that it starts out as your normal, like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
kids like each other and there's a love triangle going on, and then it takes a 180 and does all this other
I'm not a
fantasy
fan
stuff.
of-
I see that it's not going to make the list.
I'm not a
gonna give
fan
up.
of romances that are just like drawn out for the sake of being.
I didn't like
It's
the
not.
ending.
Oh, you people suck.
Love you too.
And then, what do you want to say about ACA 13 Territory Inspection Agency?
Government people.
So
It's fun. It's government the anime, and it's fun.
So part of my reasoning for having this on the list is, at the time I was watching with some friends, and every single week we were talking about what's going to happen with this plot, because it's a thriller that's very subtly done. It's got a lot of great characters who are conniving, who are trying to manipulate the government system to work best for their territory, which is why it's ACA 13 Territory Inspector Agency, because you've got like what is the equivalent of like what the FBI or whatnot,
Yeah.
and they're checking out to make sure all these territories are doing what they say they're doing, while they're trying to bribe the inspection agency, and the whole plot line revolves around the heir to the kingdom as a whole, but yet it doesn't, and you've got these, it's so intricately done that you have to really appreciate it after you get done watching it, and then you want to go back and see all the little hints in the mystery that you've missed. And I'm not convincing anybody because you're all staring at me.
It's a very good show, but has anybody seen it but the two of us in this room?
I don't think
It
so.
sounds really good. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
There are so many shows I'm going to take out of here and be like, okay, this is stuff I need to watch.
Yeah,
This is a learning
exactly.
experience.
It was-
It's also
it was-
for
for
us
Aka-
to defend our shows that only one person is.
Yeah.
For Aka, it
Yeah.
was something I was like, government, what? And then I
know.
and then I started watching it and I was like, it was so well done, and those, it's short, it's like 12 or 13
Yeah, it's like
episodes.
12, 13
It
episodes.
flew by so fast.
Uh-huh.
And it was fascinating the entire time, and
And
it was very good.
Yeah, and I think that if you binge it, you lose some of that what's going to happen next week.
But then you start
Syndrome.
thinking about,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you.
So we
It's
have
really good.
come to having on hold. We have 9 shows.
Time
and we
to
have
kill
7
your favorites.
spots.
Oh.
That's not too bad.
I
No,
would
actually, I'm
argue.
very surprised that we were able to do this. So now, I think the first thing we need to get out of the way is it going to be One Punch Man or is it going to be Mob Psycho 100?
One Punch.
Mob
One
Psycho.
Punch.
One Punch.
Who, raise your hand if you want to vote for One Punch.
Sorry, I love Mob more.
And raise your hand if you want to vote for Mob Psycho.
Do you have a tie?
No.
Okay, good, because I
I love Mob Psycho more than One Punch Man, but the cultural impact of One
Yes.
Punch Man wins.
I agree. I watched One Punch Man before Mob Psycho. And
Well, I mean,
it really just.
I think it was the big
We have to
breakthrough
choose
for Bones.
one. Actually, we only have to choose one item to get rid of.
No.
MMO
2.
Junkie, sorry.
No.
MMO
We got
Junkie.
7 spots, 9 items.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We have to take away 2.
MMO Junkie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I agree with MMO.
It's one of my favorite series that I've seen in recent years, but I don't think it had impact.
Yeah.
If everybody had to get rid of one thing on this list, what would it be?
MMO Junkie.
Mm-hmm.
Nichijou.
That's the one
I don't even like Nichijou, but it's
Yeah.
it's the pinnacle of comedy anime.
Well,
Yep.
I don't like Nichijou, but it needs to be
Yeah.
on the
There,
list.
we already have a lot of comedy on.
We do
We
still
have
a lot
one
of shonen,
comedy.
Too.
No.
We have
We have a Gretzico, and that's full
Demon
stop.
Slayer, My Hero Academia, Assassination Classroom, which I would
Well,
argue.
yeah, I can give you that one.
Yeah.
Attack on-
I've never seen Blue Exorcist.
Huh?
I've never seen Blue Exorcist.
Neither.
And that's why I'm hesitant
Me
to cross
neither.
it out.
Yeah.
I have, and I don't know.
What, Jocelyn, what would you take off the list?
Nichijou.
What would you take off the list, Liv?
Blue Exorcist, because I've never seen it.
Uh,
But if it had to be something I'd seen, MMO Junkie.
what would you take off the list?
Recovery.
What would you take off the list?
So hard, and I didn't put half of those together. Liv did a good job convincing Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
Okay.
I love it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Recovery.
Okay.
Yep, recovery.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. It is that.
Thank you.
So that's gone.
Phenomenal show.
Yeah, it's
So
good,
funny.
but-
One thing. What do we take off?
Blue Exorcist.
I'll keep this. Now cut it off.
We have two shonen. And I already fought for Sword Art, which I would never do in my entire lifetime.
So my argument is all these. Oh, this marker's not working anymore.
Oh, no.
Is it dead?
There's a green one.
Oh, there it goes. I would argue that all these shows here are all very different.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
And it gives our list a good variety.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I just.
This is good.
It's good.
It is good.
I think the manga's better.
The manga is better,
Yeah.
and the first season did it no service by having its own unique ending of what the heck is going on. So
Agreed.
yeah,
Check it out.
Beautiful.
Boom.
go read the manga.
The decision has been made.
We should cue.
I got-
Yeah, we should keep
Music.
speaking.
Yeah, we do.
I got all
I'm
the
talking
picks
about
that I
this.
wanted to fight for on there.
Did you get
Yep.
all your picks, or just all the ones? you
All the
fought
ones I
for?
wanted to fight for.
Okay.
All the ones I really felt passionate about.
Yeah, same.
I got
I'm a little mad my flavor of
I'm
Gundam
happy
didn't make
about
it,
that.
but
And
that's
Tatami,
just me.
Tatami didn't get on there because Devilman, and I did argue for Devilman, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
But what else?
Yeah, that came out of left field.
What?
Devilman?
I just
We have very passionate. Devilman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it revitalized.
It did.
It really did. I
Well,
can't.
and if you look at
argue
the
against
the
it.
old older version, it started flying off the
All
shelves.
right.
People started buying older Devilman because
Yep.
they want. Yeah. Yep.
Does anybody have anything they would like to say that didn't make the list that they really wish would have made it? Just real quick. You're gonna say
fine.
free, aren't you?
I was like,
You would.
I think I did a good job of explaining
Yeah.
at the time. I do want to kind of make a case for, we said Stardust Crusaders was kind of the pinnacle of JoJo. But I do want to make a case for, or not make a case for, I do want to mention like part 5.
Diamond is Unbreakable?
Golden Wind.
The Golden
I
Wind.
think that brought so many people into the JoJo fandom that I think it was worth just mentioning. That's all. But
I'm good.
You're
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Good at this list?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sad that From the New World and Death Ray didn't get on here, but I completely understand at the end of the day why it didn't make the list.
Yeah. And I'm sad that Gundam The Origin didn't make it, mainly because I think it's just such a gateway to the whole Universal Century storyline thing, because it's the start of it. So
It's a remake though, too, though.
not really.
reimagining.
Yeah.
It takes place before the original series, so it's a good way to lead into that, but all of a sudden you're going to a show from 1978, so.
Yeah. All right. So our list is Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, Sword Art Online, Assassination Classroom, Made in Abyss, Origami, Attack on Titan, Madoka Magica, ReZero, Rakugo Shinju, Haikyuu, Shirobako, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders with an honorable mention for Golden Wind.
Well, Diamond is Unbreakable is the best part. Let's get that. Let's not get that twisted.
Fate Zero, Kids on the Slope, Iron Blooded Orphans, Gundam, Devilman Crybaby, Agretsuko, Vinland Saga, One Punch Man, Nichijou, Yuri on Ice, Mushishi, March Comes In Like a Lion, and Chihaya Furu.
I'm all right
Everything
with
that got struck off, go watch
I
it.
was
Yes.
way more variety than I was expecting.
Yes, I'm actually very happy
Yeah.
that there's a good variety on here. That was my biggest worry is we were going to get into a shonen hole. Cool.
Okay.
So that's our list.
Woo, made it! Nobody died!
Yes. Let us know what we got right, what we didn't get right on the comments. But
And we'll tell you why you're wrong. No.
And take care. Bye, everybody.
Don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe, y'all.
Smash that
You failed.
bell.